Section 35 of Up One Pair of Stairs of My Book House. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Michelle Eaton. Up One Pair of Stairs of My Book House. Edited by Olive Beaupre Miller. Little Goody Two Shoes, ascribed by Oliver Goldsmith. All the world must know that Two Shoes was not her real name. No, her father's name was Meanwell, and he was for many years a farmer in the parish where Margery was born. But Margery and her little brother Tommy were early left alone to the wide world. It would have done your heart good to have seen how these two little ones were so fond of each other, and how hand in hand they trotted about. They were both very ragged, and Tommy had no shoes, and Margery had but one. They had nothing, poor things, to support them but what they picked from the hedges or got from the poor people, and they lay every night in a barn. Mr. Smith was a very worthy clergyman who lived in the parish where little Margery and Tommy were born, and having a relation come to see him who was a charitable good man, he sent these children to him. The gentleman ordered little Margery a new pair of shoes, gave Mr. Smith some money to buy her clothes, and said he would take Tommy and make him a little sailor. After some days the gentleman intended to go to London and take little Tommy with him. The parting between these little children was very affecting. Tommy cried, and they kissed each other 100 times. At last Tommy wiped off his sister's tears with the end of his jacket, and bid her cry no more, for that he would come to see her again when he returned from the sea. As soon as little Margery got up the next morning, she began crying for her brother. However, at this instant the shoemaker came in with the new shoes, for which she had been measured by the gentleman's order. Nothing could have helped little Margery to bear the parting with her brother, but the pleasure she took in her two shoes. She ran out to Mrs. Smith as soon as they were put on, and, stroking down her ragged apron, thus cried out, "Two shoes, ma'am, see, two shoes!" And so she behaved to all the people she met, and by that means obtained the name of Goody Two Shoes. Little Margery was very happy in being with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. She saw how good and how wise Mr. Smith was, and concluded that this was owing to his great learning. Therefore, she wanted of all things to learn to read. For this purpose she used to meet the little boys as they came from school, borrow their books, and sit down and read till they returned. By this means she got more learning than any of her playmates, and laid the following scheme for instructing those who knew less than herself. With her knife she cut out of wood 10 sets of little letters: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. And having got an old spelling book, she made her companions set up all the words they wanted to spell. I once went her rounds with her, and was highly diverted. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning when we set out on this important business, and the first house we came to was Farmer Wilson's. Here Margery stopped and ran to the door, tap, tap, tap. "Who's there?" "Only little Goody Two Shoes," answered Margery, "come to teach Billy." "Oh, little Goody," says Mrs. Wilson, with pleasure in her face, "I am glad to see you. Billy wants you sadly, for he has learned his lesson." Then out came a little boy. "How do, Goody Two Shoes?" says he, not able to speak plain. Yet this little boy had learned all his letters, for she threw down this alphabet mixed together thus: B, D, F, H, K, M, O, Q, S, U, W, Y, X, J, A, C, E, G, I, L, N, P, R, T, V, Z. And he picked them up, called them by their right names, and put them all in order thus: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. The next place we came to was Farmer Simpson's. "Bow wow wow," says the dog at the door. "Sirrah," says his mistress, "why do you bark at little Two Shoes? Come in, Madge. Here, Sally wants you sadly. She has learned all her lesson." "Yes, that's what I have," replied the little one in the country manner, and immediately taking the letters she set up these syllables: ba, be, bi, bo, boo. Da, de, di, do, do. Ka, ke, ki, ko, ku. Ka, si, ko, ku. Fa, fi, fo, fu, and gave them their exact sound as she composed them. The next place we came to was Gaffer Cook's cottage. Here a number of poor children were met to learn, who all came round little Margery at once. Having pulled out her letters, she asked the little boy next to her what he had for dinner, who answered bread. "Well then," says she, "set up the first letter." He put up the B, to which the next child added R, and the next E, the next A, the next D, and it stood thus, bread. "And what had you, Pollycomb, for your dinner?" "Apple pie," answered the little girl, upon which they set up these words, with many others, till the game of spelling was finished. Margery then set them another task, and we proceeded. So little Goody Two Shoes kept herself busy, learning and teaching, until her brother Tommy, after many adventures, returned to her again from sea, and brought back treasures enough to make them both comfortable and happy. Section 35.